Okay.
Here we go. Yeah. So Maya, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Um, well, we will just jump right in, but you can ask questions anytime you want. This is you and I will just have a fun conversation about this topic. And
Okay.
yeah. So I was initially asked to present on this because I have a podcast. Surprise, surprise. And I told Beth, I said, whoa, I am not an expert on podcasting. I am not the right person to ask to share on this topic at all. And she was just so great, and she said, really, this is just about exposing people to the concept and the idea. And anyways, long story short, I agreed to do this. And so my little disclaimer is, again, I don't consider myself an expert by any means, but I am so happy to share about my journey with podcasting and what I've learned and what I continue to learn. And so you can just take what works, and hopefully you'll get some good tips out of this. So let's see. I will just jump into the next slide, maybe if my here we go. Make sure it's working. Okay. So a brief introduction about myself is that I own a small business in Olympia, Washington. And I started my podcast just for fun. I just thought, you know what? I love listening to podcasts. I had thought about what would it be like to have a podcast, for a couple of years. I thought about it. And one of the things that one of my favorite podcasters had said was that if you find yourself saying the same thing kind of over and over and over with different clients or customers that you work with, then you have a message to share. And I thought, wow, yeah. And the other thing that struck me is that we only have so much time in a day. There's only so many hours that you and I can meet with our potential clients or patients or customers. And with a podcast, you're able to reach a mass amount of people. And I love that idea as well. So I part of my journey, I'll tell you more about my journey as we go through this, but part of my journey was that I thought I started out being a guest on a few podcasts. I was asked to come in and speak on other people's podcasts. And I thought, you know what, I can do that. That wasn't that hard and it was fun. And, but then it took me 2 years to actually launch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that perfection over production piece, I just kept thinking that I had to get it right and it needed to look perfect. And I had to have this whole launch party and follow these steps. And I even I had 2 courses that I took on podcasting, and I got into a podcasting for healthcare providers mastermind group. So I really absorbed it all, but it still took me way longer than I think it needed to for me to actually launch it. And I say this just so, for you, Maya, or for any of those that might listen to this presentation later, just to kind of normalize the experience of that, right? That we have an idea in our head of what it's supposed to look like or what we want it to look like. And sometimes that can get in the way. But what we really want to focus on today is this idea of really how podcasting, what the impact is of podcasting. And we'll talk about all kinds of benefits in growing your brand, growing your name, positioning yourself as an expert in your field, allowing your audience or your people to find you. I always love that saying that what you are seeking is also seeking you. And
Mm.
so there are people waiting for your message. There are people that are looking for you, and they haven't found you yet. And so this is a beautiful way to get your message out there.
So can you just say a little bit about the podcasting industry in general? It seems like it's just kind of exploded in the past, what, 5, 10 years? I don't even
Yeah.
know when the whole thing got started.
Yeah. No, that's a good question, Maya. The industry itself has just taken off, partially because, and we'll talk a little about the technology and access to technology. And so, because of the tools that are available now, more and more people are able to access it and start their own podcasts. And there's all different types of podcasts, as you can imagine. I'm sure you have listened to podcasts in the past.
Well, not really. I've been doing a lot of work on webinars,
Okay.
like pre-recorded teaching on,
Mhm.
especially on, in my field of interest, which is psychology
Uh-huh.
and also astrology. And
Yeah.
I just love the face-to-face contact that there's, I don't know if podcasts always include a visual or if it's more just an auditory experience,
Yeah. Good question.
but I
Yeah.
haven't really gotten into listening to podcasts.
Hey. Well, Maya, I am so glad that you tuned into this because maybe this will pique your interest. And one of the things to know, one of the things I learned kind of accidentally is let me back up a second. I went into podcasting. So podcasting is typically audio only, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are podcasting platforms that you can go and find. You can search for a variety of topics. You can
Mm.
search for your favorite influencers or people that are change makers in the world. Like I'll get on and say I want to listen to like Joe Dispenza. I just went to one of his retreats, and he doesn't have a podcast, but he's interviewed by multiple people on their podcasts. So I
Mm.
can search for, his name and find all the interviews that he has been on, or I can search for topics and, specialists, and people will pop up.
Mm.
Podcasting also, you can listen to it for entertainment. There's, funny ones, there's serious ones, there's um, all different types of podcasts out there. And most of the time you can find podcasts by hopping onto Apple iTunes or Spotify.
Mm.
But one of the new things that's happening now
Mm-hmm.
is Google is starting to include podcasts on searches. So if you were to hop on to Google and let's say you wanted to learn more about a certain style of astrology, let's just say,
Mm-hmm.
and you Googled that, and the more specific you get, there's a good chance that in your Google results that they may show a podcast. If there's a podcast episode that's floating around out there that's on that exact topic, they are going to start showing those results on Google. So that's good news for podcasters because their shows are getting discovered. The other thing that I learned that I started to say I kind of learned accidentally is when I started out, the intention is that people are listening to you. Well, I used Zoom as my recording platform.
Mm-hmm.
And so from the very first episode that I did, I have all of my episodes recorded on Zoom. So I have an audio clip of the episode that I use for my podcast, but I also have this video of me and the person talking. So what's happening now in the podcasting world is it's getting very common for people to have their podcasts uploaded to YouTube. So you're kind of doing, it's two birds with one stone sort of thing. So you can have your audio on a podcast platform, and then you can have your video of the podcast also on YouTube.
But you're doing that at the same time. You're making the
You're just making one recording.
Audio visual
you're just
presentation
doing
together.
And so they
on Zoom.
call that, there's a word for that. They call that multi-purposing. So you're multi-purposing your content. So you're doing one thing and you're able to use it in multiple different ways. So the third way that you would be able to use that recording is for your social media content. So you can literally take clips, little quotes of yourself or a guest, or, you know, and run it through your social media. So you're repurposing this content. And then you can, I mean, from there, you can make fancy little graphics. You can pull out, out of a one episode. Oh my goodness. I'm going a little off topic here because I didn't include a lot of this stuff in this presentation, but with the use of AI tools now, for instance, ChatGPT, or I use an editing tool also called Descript. I can upload my video. Like, for instance, I could take the recording of this presentation that we're doing right now. When we're done, I could upload it to Descript, and it will pull out, I can tell it to pull out all of the filler words. I can say, I want you to take out all of the ums or the ahs or the, and it will pull it out. I can have it fix the audio so it sounds more studio style.
Wow.
I can tell it to search through this whole recording and pull out 3 to 5 quotes that would be attractive to a certain audience. I can tell it to summarize the whole episode. I often will tell it to write the show notes for me. So I'll give it a little bit of parameter and say, hey, you know, I want you to introduce my, the person I'm interviewing briefly. I want you to give a certain, 2 to 3 sentence summary of what the episode is about. And then I want you to pull out 5 bullet points of things that would be attractive to my audience. And I want you to use key SEO words to, summarize the show notes with, and it will do it.
Wow, I'm so impressed, Laura, that you've learned how to do all that.
It's pretty incredible. And really, it's just back to your original question. This is about the availability for technology now. So more technology is available to the average person. And if we learn how to use it and how it can help us, it can just only enhance what we're doing. And so I could give a whole talk on AI and how those tools can help with your business. But we're focusing on podcasting today, and I definitely use it. I use the AI tools for my podcast. I use it for so many things. So
when did you launch your podcasts? Oh, here it is.
Well, good prompt. Good prompt. So I started my very first episode. I think I uploaded 3 or 4 right up front. So I had recorded maybe like probably 8 of them. Once I had 8 recordings done, I uploaded the first 4 right away, just so that when somebody clicked on one, they could see that there was at least a few others in there that they could listen to. Because one of the things that happens with podcasts, if somebody listens to it, they want to listen to another one and they want to listen to another one. So no matter when they find you, if it's now or 5 years from now, they will likely go back and listen to your other episodes too.
Wow.
So I uploaded my first episode in 2021, April of 2021, and I ran my podcast basically about once a week until December of 2022. So here's what happened to me. And this is, again, why I say I'm not an expert. I didn't do it correctly. This was just my journey. In December of 2022, I stopped. I was going to take a hiatus. I was going to take a break for the holidays. Well, I didn't come back from it. So oh gosh, I didn't put the date. Basically, I'm getting ready to relaunch. So I have really not, I think I've maybe uploaded maybe 4 or 5 or 6 episodes since 2022. The reason this is important for people to know is that when I stopped in December of 2022, I had 44 episodes that were up. I had almost 9,000 downloads from people, and I had 48 different countries listening to the podcast. And I was like, wow, I didn't advertise it. I didn't do anything at all to advertise it. It's just, I have a niche podcast, and I think people were looking for that and they found it. So this is the piece I'm most excited about, where it says current. So remember, I've uploaded maybe 4, 5 or 6 episodes since 2022. So that's a long time that I have done nothing with this podcast, right? So yes, I have 49 current episodes as of today. These are numbers as of today. I have 16. Oh, I put 16.3. It should be 16.3 thousand downloads. From the day that I stopped uploading podcasts, I have doubled the amount of downloads doing nothing.
Wow.
I went from having 48 different countries listening in to 65 different countries listening to my podcast. The reason that this is, again, so important to understand is that you'll hear me talk about this term called evergreen. Podcasting is evergreen. And what that means is that once you put it out there, it just will continue to grow. You don't have to do anything to it. It'll continue to grow. And I am living proof of that.
Well, where do I find your podcasts?
Well, my podcast, I didn't even list that in here, but my podcast is called Life on Repeat. So if you go to lifeonrepeatpodcast.com, you can find it. Or if you go to any podcast platform, you go to Spotify or Apple iTunes or any of those, you'll find it there too. But the cool thing about all of this is it shifted how I thought, in so many ways. So from April 2021 to December of 2022, it was a lot of work. I mean, I was doing an hour interview every week with somebody, with myself, with someone else. I'll talk about all the different ways to do that. and then I edited it myself, and then it was a little bit of work. And so, then I did nothing for a couple of years, and it just kept growing. So what it showed me is that there's a need, people are interested in this niche. And so it shifted my mindset from, oh, this is just something I'm doing for fun on the side, to, oh my gosh, people really want this and they're interested. And now it has completely shifted. So as a business owner in Olympia, I have brick and mortar, and Maya, you happen to know about my business. But I have a brick and mortar business. I've got a team that works for me. I now, because of this little experiment with this podcasting, I am now building a new brand, and I'm essentially starting a new business, because I'm going to so the beginning of this year, I have a new social media team that I'm just starting to work with. We're going to take all of those prior episodes and upload them onto YouTube. I've got a whole new system in place, and I'm going to monetize it. And we'll talk about how to monetize your podcast in this presentation as well. Because I have a global audience, because I've positioned myself as an expert in the field, I have a unique niche. It's time to monetize. I probably should have been monetizing it. And we'll talk about all the ways that you can monetize your podcast as well. So we'll get into that.
Also, well, how did you learn to edit?
Well, hey, yeah, let's talk about that. I will definitely talk about that. That's in these slides.
Okay.
So, yeah. But let's first start with why is podcasting such a game changer for small businesses? These are the top 4 things that I could think of, is that first thing is it builds trust and relationships with your audience. So if you think about the people that you follow, whether you have your favorite people, you mentioned astrology, so I keep using that as an example, but you have your favorite astrologers, the experts in the field that you trust and you listen to. Part of the reason that you trust them so much is because you've listened to them for maybe years, or even in other areas of your life. There are certain people your favorite YouTube person that you might go to when you want information. So the more that someone sees you, the more that you're out there, the more they feel that they have a relationship with you. So it's important to not underestimate the value of that connection. I can't tell you how many people that I have met, clients that have come to me, or other experts in the field that will email or call me up, and they act like they know me, in a good way. They are, because they've listened to my podcast, they feel like they know me. They feel like we're friends. I may be meeting them for the first time, but they already trust me. So the reason this is such a game changer for small businesses is that typically businesses are out looking for clients and customers. They're searching for that, and when they're talking to someone, they're essentially selling their services. They're selling themselves. When you position yourself as an influencer or an expert in the field, like for instance with a podcast, they're coming to you. They're already sold. They already know you. The reason they're calling is because they're already convinced they want to work with you. So it sort of takes that sales piece out. It sort of takes that you don't have to convince anybody of anything, that they've already learned themselves the value that you bring.
Well, let me ask, if you pay a fee to post these, or buy the equipment and get set up and get started.
Yes. Yes. So there's we'll talk about the tools too, in this presentation. But I can tell you that you would need a hosting platform.
On Zoom or?
Well, that's a recording. Yes, you would need recording. And I do have a slide for this. So when we get there, you'll get to see that. But
Okay.
yes, you would need a recording platform like Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would need a hosting site, which is where you send the recording. It kind of lives in this site. And from that site, they send it to all the podcasts. And I can show you too, when we get to that slide, I'm going to try anyways to show you what mine looks like. I'm going to have to stop sharing this screen and hop over, but we can definitely do that, Maya.
So there's a fee to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they're monthly fees. They're not crazy fees. I'm trying to remember what I pay for my podcasting platform. I mean, it might be like $20 a month or something. The other reasons that this is such a game changer for businesses is that it positions you as an expert in your field. You know, when you are out there and you're sharing this information, it builds that credibility. I have been recognized by AARP. I've been quoted in AARP magazine and interviewed by them 3 different times. The Wall Street Journal actually called me last month and wanted to talk to me. I don't think I'm going to end up in any article there, but the journalist was sort of like putting together her expert bucket for dementia and elder care, which is the area that I specialize in. And so, you know, it's like, partially, I think it's because I have a podcast out there and I'm kind of the positioning myself as an expert. So yeah. The other thing, again, that surprised me, you saw in my stats earlier, was that you can reach a global audience. And in this day and age, with the internet and our ability to meet on Zoom, there's no reason that you can't have clients and customers all over the world. I certainly do. And it's been fantastic, you know, to be able to serve people all over. And then we talked about the evergreen content, meaning that once you create it, it's out there forever. You know, as long as you have it out there, it's out there and people can find it. And so, you know, some of these episodes that I created 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, even, people are finding and reaching out because it was helpful for them.
So, wow, I'm so impressed.
Well,
wow, I'm just thrilled for you, just knowing something about your journey and where it all started for you through Enterprise for Equity.
Isn't that cool? I know.
Yeah.
This is years and years ago that I was working at Providence, and I wanted to start a care management company and didn't really know where to start. You know, you go to school to learn all of this amazing stuff, but they don't teach you how to start a business. So yeah, I met Beth, and I went through the Enterprise for Equity program. I cannot remember what year it was, but I was still working at Providence. So it was maybe 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's Enterprise for Equity has been a great program. Okay, so let's talk now about identifying your perfect audience. And I want you to know we will get to the tools and the thing, all of that stuff that you were asking about too.
Okay.
But this is really important. And this is kind of what you would do for a business anyways. But I wanted to highlight it again because it's when we're talking about creating a podcast, it's really important that we know who our ideal listener is, who is our ideal client, who's our ideal customer. And so we call that an avatar. I don't know if you've heard that term in business before, but it's sort of when you say, who's your avatar, you're thinking about who is your perfect, like if you could close your eyes and just dream of your perfect client, that's who your avatar is. And we'll go through a little exercise here after this slide. I'll walk you through an exercise and we'll brainstorm who your perfect avatar is. But your perfect audience is, we kind of want to create an avatar. We want to look at the demographics of that person. So who is your perfect listener? How old are they? Where do they live? What work do they do? What are the things that they think about during the day? This third one is the psychographics. So what are their values? What do they believe? What are their fears? What keeps them up at night? And sometimes we think about, if you can look back in time and think about, who did you enjoy working with the most? Who do you feel like got the most value out of your time? And sometimes we can create that avatar out of that real client or customer that we have had in the past, and be like, okay, that's who I want to attract. That's who I want to talk to when I'm recording my episodes or I'm sharing information. You want to hold that person in your mind and speak to that avatar. So what are their pain points? What problems are they trying to solve that you are an expert in? And how can your podcast help? What are those pieces? So let's go to this next slide and we can dive into this a little deeper. So the first thing is the demographics piece. So who are they? We'll just kind of brainstorm. Do you have anybody in your mind, Maya, when you think about if you were to create a podcast and you in your past, have you worked with somebody that just brought you joy? I mean, this is important. The important piece too is you can be so valuable to so many people with the knowledge that you have to share. And I would challenge you to really think about what lights you up, what makes you shine. That's going to come through on your podcast. People will feel that. And so when you're talking or you're sharing information, if you can think about that one client or customer that you had in the past that where you were able to be your best self, with so think about how old that person was, what was their gender, what was their occupation, where were they in life, where did they live? Start to build that image in your mind. And then the second piece is the psychographics piece. So what matters to them? What are their values? What do they care about? Are they feeling insecure in certain areas? Are they having, certain fears that are getting in the way of them living their best lives? And that kind of leads into this third point of their pain points. What specific struggles do they have? What problems do they face? What do they catch themselves thinking about when they're lost in thought? And then the fourth piece is the solutions piece. So finally, now we can connect all of those things. We can connect the demographics of who they are, to the psychographics of what they care about, to the pain points of what keeps them up at night. And when you connect all of that, you are the magic solution to their problems, or your podcast is,
Yeah.
podcast is the place that they're going to feel like they're understood because somebody is speaking to them, giving them answers or guidance or hope. So especially you mentioned, your interest in the field of psychology and
my background as a physical therapist for 40 years.
Yeah.
And, teaching movement education and integrative physical therapy that includes body, mind, spirit.
Oh, Maya. So
integration.
Think about the topics that you could share would be endless.
Yeah.
And so if you defined your perfect avatar, this person, think about the things that person would love hearing about, how that might help them, how you could deliver that information to them in a way that they would understand. All those things are so important. So here we're going to talk a little bit about planning the podcast content. So when you're thinking about what episodes to put out there, you want to be thinking of your podcast episodes as answers to questions that your perfect client is already asking. So you want to address their pain points. So what would the most common questions they have be? Like I put on here, what would they Google? Like if they're up at night worrying about things or wondering about things, what would they be Googling? And those would be your podcast titles. Those would be your podcast episodes. They'll be Googling something and your podcast is going to pop up. But it's also a fun way to brainstorm topics for yourself too, right? Go to Google and say, for me, I would put in, what are the biggest caregiver stresses, and then I'm going to see Google will, how when you go to Google something, it will finish the sentence for you. It'll list all the other options. Take that list. Those are all episodes for you, that you can talk about. Yeah. Yeah. So, and we'll get into more detail a little bit about the podcast episodes. But the episode structure is, just kind of obviously having a clear topic. So from title to content, just clear key points, clear topic, and then a call to action. And that just simply means you always leave somebody with a request to do something next. It might just be, the call to action might be tune in to listen to the next episode, or it might be here, go to this website to get, in touch with me. Or a call to action could even be take care of yourself and do these things. It's giving some next steps because you've already got their attention. They're already interested. And then this third piece, types of episodes, I threw in here too under the planning your content piece, that solo teaching. So your podcast could just be you. You could choose to never have guests. It could just be you. Or you can do a mix and have guests and collaborative discussions and solo episodes. That's how most many podcasters will do it. They'll have a mix. I think it's important as a business owner, since we're talking about podcasting for businesses, that you mix in solo episodes, because when you have a solo episode, again, you're positioning you as the expert. You are the expert. guest interviews are fun, and it still positions you as an expert. It's nice because you can not only interview someone to share the information with your audience, you can ask intelligent questions, you can collaborate in those discussions together. So your two colleagues having a dialogue together. You can, a guest might be a client that you've had, depending on the type of relationship that you have. So there's all different ways to do that. The thing that we'll talk a little bit more about too is the strategy there of when you invite other people to be a guest. And this is something that I definitely did when I had a clear idea of who I wanted as guests. I wanted professionals that I respected. I wanted a certain caliber of quality in that arena for my podcast. And I chose most of my guests I chose specifically because they were respected in the field and they also had a following. So what that does is their followers want to listen to my podcast because I'm interviewing their favorite person. And now they follow my podcast. Yeah. So when we talk about this idea of, because I've heard some people say, oh, I don't want to start a podcast. There's so many out there, or there's already so many other people doing a podcast on my topic or my area of expertise. And the good news is that if there's a lot of people doing it, that's good, because that means that there's an interest or a need in that field. And most people, I would say 99% of people out there that listen to podcasts follow more than one person. If they're interested in a certain topic, they're going to follow multiple people on that topic. So it's okay that there are other people doing that have similar types of podcasts. It just shows that there's a need out there and that people will listen.
It's a popular topic.
A popular topic. Yep. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So when we're brainstorming your episode ideas, this is kind of fun. You always start by revisit your avatar, that little kind of exercise we just kind of walked through. Look at their pain points. What are they struggling with? Where are they going? Like I said, or what are they searching on Google or on YouTube to answer their problems? That's going to help you come up with ideas for your podcast episodes. You can even go, and we've kind of touched on this already, but you can even go to Google and type in their pain points or keywords that they may use. There's a feature in Google. I actually just learned this, but if you put in a word or a topic and then you put in quotes, people also ask, Google will pull up the results and it will include other ways that people have asked a similar question. So it'll give you a nice variety of ideas and topics when you use that people also ask in quotes. Again, and YouTube does the same thing. You'll go to YouTube to search for a topic, and YouTube will pull the top searched phrases, and that's pretty cool. Because then okay, most people are getting on. Maybe for me in my field, maybe I'm using the word caregiver, but other people are using the word care caretaker, or some people are using the word care partner, or it's helping me know,
Mm.
oh, okay, there's different ways to find the information I'm looking for based on what people are searching for. And then ChatGPT is the AI tool.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't been using it, Maya, it might be a fun invitation to get you interested in ChatGPT. But again, I could do a whole talk on ChatGPT and AI and how to use that in business. But quite simply, for this topic, ChatGPT, you can literally ask ChatGPT to give you the pain points of your ideal customer or client, and tell it that you want a list of 20 different topics, or anyway, it's a fantastic tool to.
So where do I find Chat GPT? I just enter that
It,
in Google.
it's a free app. So
Oh,
yeah, and you can have it on your phone and your computer. So you can download it and you sign up with an account. It's free.
uh-huh.
And then you can start to play with it, just have conversations
Mm-hmm.
with it. I think the biggest challenge that people have that aren't familiar with ChatGPT is
Mm-hmm.
that they treat it kind of like Google. They
Mm.
phrase their questions like Google, but I encourage you to talk to it as if you were talking to a person.
Mm-hmm.
Have a conversation, and even ask it to lead you in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You can even ask ChatGPT, you can say, I don't really know how to use you. I'm just trying to brainstorm a little about some podcast episode ideas here. Why don't you ask me questions that will help guide me? And then it
Wow.
will come on and say, hey, why don't you tell me a little bit about your podcast? Who are your ideal people? And, what experience do you have? And who do you hope to, it'll ask you questions, and then you answer the questions, and then it will say, okay, great, here's 10 or 20 topic ideas that you might be interested in.
That's amazing
Yeah,
that it can do that. Welcome to the modern world.
it's every day, let me tell you, every day it's improving and changing. It's been so much fun. I've really gotten feet first into the AI world, and yeah, I learn every day. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
I even, on a side note, Maya, I set up a ChatGPT thread for astrology. I I
Ah,
entered I entered my chart information, my specific chart information, degrees, houses, everything.
uh-huh.
And then maybe once a week or once a month, I'll enter the current transits, and just ask it tons of questions about what's going on and my particular chart.
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Ah.
So, but you can build different threads that
Mm-hmm.
you can, like, I recommend when you use AI, when you use chat, especially chat GPT, that you're telling it who you want it to be first. Say, I want you to be an expert in, you know, it could be like, for this topic, I would say, I want you to act as an expert in podcasting and in, I would say, in education and in helping me brainstorm and give me answers that are easy to understand and in bullet pointed form, or I want you to assume that I don't know anything about this topic at all and walk me through what I need
Wow.
learning. Yeah, it's a lot
That's
of fun.
really cool.
Yeah.
You're opening up a whole new world for me here,
Well,
Laura.
oh Maya, it's yeah, there is a whole new world, let me tell you. And I'd be happy to talk to you about it sometime, over coffee or whatever. It would be fun to show you.
Oh, let's do. Yeah, I'd like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, so on to our
Yes.
3 here is I have created for myself a chart
Mhm.
that I just keep track of. The episode titles, and I have it like color coded if it's a guest or a solo episode and what the pain point is. I even on my podcast have color coded certain categories of, is this a self-care themed episode, or is this an educational themed episode? Is this a resource themed episode? Just because I personally wanted to mix those areas. I wanted equal areas with self-care and dementia education and resources and things like that. I wanted to make sure I wasn't too much on one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started keeping track of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wow.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving along. Okay, now we're getting to the tools.
Okay.
Now the tools that you need, the basic tools you're going to need is a computer, a laptop,
Mm-hmm.
a microphone. And let me tell you, you don't even need a microphone. I mean, you and I are having this recorded Zoom conversation. I'm not using a microphone right now. You're wearing earbuds. That is a microphone and headphone that you could use. But again, you don't even need it
Yeah.
really. I mean, it's up to you. I do for my podcasting, I went ahead and bought a fancy, mic that I use, but I've done episodes where I haven't had it with me and I don't worry about it, especially with these new tools we have that can enhance the audio pretty well.
Yeah.
So the recording software that I use is Zoom. I'm literally recording on Zoom. There are other ones out there, of course, platforms that you can record on, but Zoom is a popular one and people know how to use it. And like I said before, the cool thing about Zoom is it's also recording the video and you can repurpose that content later if you wanted. So it was nice. It was nice that I had sort of accidentally had all those videos.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So then you're going to need a hosting platform. Now, this is where your podcast lives. This is I think of the hosting platform as the hub. That's where all the episodes live. And then they send it out to all the podcast platforms. So they'll send it to Apple iTunes, they send it to Spotify, they send it to all the other platforms. The hosting platform that I use is called Captivate. And so you had asked before about price. I honestly cannot remember what I pay. I probably pay $20 or $30 a month for this Captivate account. The equipment, like I said, you don't even have to have a microphone or headphones. You really don't. Zoom, I mean, I have the paid version of Zoom, but there's a free version of Zoom out there for people. So,
with a 40-minute limit.
Okay, yeah. So people would want to be aware of that piece. Yeah. The editing tools. So you could pay somebody to edit your podcast for you. And I've done that. I've also edited it myself. It's just up to you how you want to do that. I use Descript when I edit. I like Descript because it's an AI type of tool. That's the tool that I was telling you that I would upload and I could take out the filler words, and I can have it fix the audio. The main thing that you're going to want to do for editing is put an intro and an outro on.
Mhm.
I have a pre-recorded intro, who I am and the music, and the
Mm.
outro. I kind of have a disclaimer piece on the outro. You can put whatever intro and outro you want. And there's a lot of different styles out there that people are doing differently. They're starting to have at the very beginning of the episode a little clip of a quote or a important thing that someone said during the episode. They'll throw that in the front to catch people's eye, and then they'll go into the music intro.
A quote from the speaker.
Yeah, if you listen to podcasts, there's a few out. Many of them are doing that now. I'm not doing it, but what they would do is they okay, so again, we'll use this as an example, our presentation. Let's say I'm going to upload this as my podcast episode, this whole conversation that we've been having. Somewhere along the line, there was something really cool that you said, Maya. And I'm going to just clip that piece out, and I'm going to stick it to the beginning so that
Okay.
people click on the episode, they're going to hear you saying this super cool thing, and they're going to want to keep listening. And so then the music starts, and then the beginning of the episode goes, and then, eventually we'll hear that cool quote that is somewhere in the.
So you copy it and put it in the intro.
Yep.
That's
what
cool.
some people, yeah, so some
A
people.
teaser.
A teaser, yeah. Yep, exactly, a teaser.
Good.
But it's your episode. It's your podcast. You do whatever you want. If you don't want music in it, if you want music in it, if you want to introduce yourself formally, have someone record themselves introducing you.
With music, you might have to have copyright.
Yes, and there are places that you can go. There's a lot of detail that I didn't throw into this presentation just because of lack of time, and this focus is a little more like the benefits of podcasting for a business than really how do you set it, like what's the down and dirty of setting it up. But yes, you can make your own music. You can have somebody make it for you. There are sites that you can go to. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to remember the site because it's been so long. But I got mine off of a site. So they have sites that have music clips, and you can just buy them. I think I paid $20 or $30 for the music that rights to use the music that I have.
Yeah, cool.
But yes, and you can just Google it, and it's fun to sit and listen through all the different genres of music and figure out what flavor you want. Yeah.
Like you have time for that.
Oh my gosh, right? Yeah, you get lost in the creativity for this whole thing. But then the other thing that you could do if you wanted for tools is there are project management tools out there. I use one. I'm probably not gonna continue to use it, but I use one called Trello, where I've got all my episodes in there.
How do you spell that?
Trello, Trello. And I've got lists of speakers and topics, and it's kind of like my memory bank of all of my brain dump stuff for the podcast. A scheduling link if you want. One of the things that I do is I have a link. So what I did, I think I have a slide on this, but I'll tell you now, and I won't repeat it later, but is I created an email, just went ahead and pre-typed it all out saying who I am, and that I was interested in inviting them to be a guest on my podcast. And this is what the podcast is about. And if you're interested, here's the link to schedule. And so I was just going to say it, and then I use not MailChimp. What do I use for my scheduling? Give me a second, I'll remember it. But basically it directs them to this scheduling link. And it links to my Google Calendar, so they can see all the times that I have available. They pick a time, and then they have to fill out a form in order to schedule with me. And on the form, it's basically their name, their email address. And then I ask them what topic they would like to talk about on the podcast. And I ask them to put 3 to 5 questions that they would like me to ask them. That kind of helps guide me a little also in the episode.
Yeah.
And then I ask them to please include how they would like me to introduce them. And so that way, again, when I start the episode, I can say, you know, this is Dr. So-and-so who works here and there, and he's got these awards, or, you know, whatever they want me to say about them. It's not me getting it wrong. It's me literally reading what they want, how they want to be introduced. And then I also ask, I ask at the end, how our audience can find out more about them. Like, what is their social media handles? What is their website? What is, you know, do they have a podcast? Whatever they want to put. Maybe they have a book that they're promoting or selling, you know, whatever they want me, where they want me to direct people for them. I'm happy to do that. So yeah, and then they schedule, and I've got it set up so that the Zoom link automatically goes to them. So it schedules the Zoom link, and then we are ready to roll.
Wow.
Back to this tools piece. I was going to tell you a funny story. Just to highlight the fact that the microphone and the sound, and I can remember it was probably my 4th episode. I was so stressed out about getting the sound quality right that I literally did an episode under my desk. I threw a blanket over my desk to create a sound barrier, and I climbed under my desk. And I had a whole episode just to get the sound just right.
And look at you now.
Look at me now. I know.
Hanging out there
Funny,
in your home office.
Well, I mean, right now it's funny. I'm actually in Mexico right now, so it's a few hours ahead of you, but yeah, it's just the beauty of being able to work, you know, from your computer, laptop. These episodes don't keep me down, you know, I can do them from anywhere. And now that we have Descript, now that we have these AI tools that can help me with my sound quality, I don't have to worry about it. So yeah,
that's
I don't have to climb under my desk anymore, right?
Good for you.
Another one I tried it out in my sauna. I have a sauna at home. I'm like, oh, this is a good soundproof room, you know? So I climbed in my sauna with my laptop. But anyway,
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, okay. So moving along to the pre-production phase. I'm just kind of walking you through what I would normally be doing. So if I'm doing a solo episode, again, I would get an idea of the topic that I wanted to be talking about, really highlighting again, I just can't overemphasize enough the pain points, that you want to address the pain points. And often, I can't tell you how many times I recorded an episode. I picked a topic, I recorded an episode, and as I'm doing the episode, I realized I could have turned this into probably 3 different episodes, you know, because you can just deep dive into so many areas. And so don't be afraid to talk about the same things over and over. It's okay to do that. If that's what your audience's pain points are, if you can talk about it in different ways and approach it from different angles, that's going to be super helpful for them. And it will get you found more as well. So it's okay to do that. On the guest interviews, yeah, I kind of already went through this with you about I have an invitation written with the scheduling link, and then I ask them those questions about their expertise and how they want to be introduced, and 3 to 5 questions that they want me to ask. It's really helpful when you have a guest come on, that I always just let them know, you know, we're going to be on, I won't keep you past the top of the hour. You know, it's typically 45 minutes to an hour, or 20 minutes, or, you know, whatever you anticipate, or whatever style your podcast is. You can have 15-minute episodes if you want. I mean, there are some that are 5 minutes. They just do these little sound bites, you know, of information. And so it's up to you how you want it to go. I always ask them, you know, if it's okay if we use this video, because it'll, you know, I'm building a YouTube channel that it may go on later. And then I just tell them too, like, for my podcast, it's very conversational and natural, casual style. It's not formal, it's not scripted, it's not anything that, but some podcasts might be, you know, they may want to really be very professional and formal. So just kind of give your guests an idea of what that might look like. I always tell my guests too that, hey, I've got a great editor. If you say something wrong, or you wish that you didn't, just say it out loud and we'll cut that part out. It's totally fine. You know?
Okay.
And I don't think I've even ever had to do, maybe once I've had to do that. But even when, you know, the dog's barking in the background and we're laughing about it, people kind of, I think it's endearing, you know, and it makes it seem real, and people can laugh about it with us. So even those moments, you know, unless, I mean, I think one time I had a package delivered, and so I actually had to get up and go to the door and come back. So I cut that part out. But other than that, people are, you know, I think, typically appreciate it not being too perfect.
Yeah.
And then this piece, don't forget to hit the record button. Knock on wood, I have not had that happen, but some of my colleagues, my podcaster friends, I've heard horror stories of these beautiful interviews and they forgot to record the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
That would be definitely a bummer. So the post-production piece. So this is the pre-production. This is getting ready for it. Then you hit the record button and you have a great conversation, or with yourself, you know, if it's just you. The post-production piece is where we jump into, okay, now we open it up, we get our Zoom recording out, and I'm going to take that Zoom recording and I'm going to upload that into my editing tool. Again, I use Descript. Now, for the first half of my episodes, I just paid somebody to edit them for me. It can get spendy doing that. And, you know, if you're comfortable figuring out how to do it yourself, you can do it yourself. I've gone back and forth. So, so you upload it to the editing tool, Descript. Then when you go into edit, these are the three things that I've mentioned that I do before is I double check the sound, I get the sound quality right. I remove some of the filler words. I honestly, you don't even have to do that. I really just started doing that because the tool is so easy to use and it lets me do it. But most of my other episodes, I'm saying ums and ahs, and we're just they aren't perfect. Like I said, I think people like that. And then I am adding the intro and the outro. So the music or the whatever you want to say on those pieces. And any advertisements that you may have, any pieces, because the piece that we haven't really emphasized that we will be emphasizing here in this presentation is this piece of the reason we're doing this podcast as a business owner is to bring you business, is to make money. Now, remember when I started this podcast, I was just having fun. I was just experimenting. And when it took off, I realized, oh my gosh, all this time I could have been directing people to my business website, or I could have been selling them a course, or I could have been offering my coaching services to them, or I could have created a support group that they are paying $20 a month to be part of. Like there were so many things that I could have been taking advantage of with that audience, and I wasn't. And so this is your opportunity to, what is your call to action? Put that out there. It's your platform. The other piece that you do when you're editing is getting those show notes, because that's in the editing tool sorry, not the editing tool, in the hosting platform. So in Captivate, when you upload your episode to go out, it asks for the show notes. So you're going to have to title the episode and put your notes in. And
what kind of notes?
It's usually just a summary of it, and it can be as much or as little as you want, really.
Okay.
It's helpful to have a good description, because that way, remember when I said people will Google questions, your episode might come up. A lot of it is Google is looking at your show notes. What words did you use, in your show notes? What they're able to do now, this is a big change in the world of technology, is because of AI and because of the ability to transcribe voice to text, is that Google is now able to, quote, listen to these episodes and pull content and keywords out of that. So I'm getting
amazing.
I know I'm probably getting way more technical than you need to know, but show notes used to be a big deal, like which words you chose. Like it's kind of like on your website, the SEO search words, it's not as important anymore in podcasting, because it's able to look at your audio words. So anyway, I don't know if that really answers your questions, but
yeah.
the best thing to do is to get on podcasts and start playing around with them. Listen to a few, find out, their intro and outros and how long they are and their conversational styles, and read their show notes. And, you get to choose how you want to do it, but it'll give you some good ideas for sure. Then you would upload it to the hosting platform, which, like I said, I use Captivate. And then from there, depending again on how in depth you want to be, I always inform the guest if it was a guest that I interviewed, and I give them the link so they can share it with their people. And then if you have a social media platform, that's when, you can make clips or you can create content to share on social media about the newest episode that you just released. So
I like to think of myself as Betty Rubble meets Judy Jetson. I feel like Betty Rubble living in the Stone Age.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much, that image. I love that.
She was
I
my
mean, there are
favorite.
moments where I am Judy Jetson, and there are moments where I am definitely back in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
But I love that so much.
Oh.
Yay. So, grow your audience. How do you grow your audience? Well, you can collaborate with influencers and guests. So you can strategize, who you're meeting with and why you're inviting them on. And maybe there's a topic that's really hot right now. And can you position it so that it makes sense to be on your podcast? You can talk about this certain thing that's been, the buzzword or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can, like I said, invite certain people that have big followings themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You can collaborate with people that are doing the same thing. So you might normally look at somebody like that as your competition in business, but when the two of you come together and share your expertise together, it only improves both of you and makes you both look good. So collaborating with others that are doing similar things is a cool thing to do.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I did that. An example of that outside of the podcasting world is how did I meet her? Oh my gosh. There's a psychologist a geropsychologist in Florida. I'm trying to remember how we actually met. Probably on social media somewhere, on a Facebook group or something. Anyway, she does very much what I do, which at the time, it's, at the time, being a counselor supporting caregivers, caring for someone with dementia is a very rare niche. And she's in Florida and I'm in Washington State, and we decided to collaborate, and we created a summit. We created a dementia summit, a dementia caregiver summit. And we invited dementia experts from all over the country to present, to give us a presentation, basically. And we hosted it on Facebook, and we got 2,000 followers. I mean, and we did a 7-day, I think it was a 7-day summit, or maybe it was even longer now. It went for 2 weeks. So, but all of these people, we were strategic about who we chose because we knew they had followers and they would be telling their audience about this summit. And, by the time we had, like I said, I think we had probably 14 different presenters. Wow. More than that, because we were doing 3 a day, and it went on. Anyway, this was it was before COVID that we did this. But that's just a good example of 2 people that are serving the same clientele coming together and maximizing, our reach.
This is great. Wow.
Yeah. And then this piece of promoting on social media. So how do you grow your audience? You promote social media, email, newsletters. Often, like I said, the collaboration piece is when you're cross promoting. So when you're mentioning someone else's good work, then they tend to mention you. And we talked about repurposing content,
Mhm.
how when you make a Zoom recording of something, then now you have clips you can use, you have quotes you can pull from it, you have, video, you have audio. It's pretty cool to
Yeah.
be able to do that. And then the Google searches that you can do to basically, what did I put Google searches on grow your audience? I don't remember why I stuck that on there. I think I was thinking about finding, I don't remember, Maya, why I stuck that in there.
Different ways for people to find you, like different.
Yeah, that's right, because I was talking about SEO here. Yep, that's probably right. Yep, yep.
Mhm.
So again, Google is can look at audio content now, so it can look at podcasts. So if somebody, let's say, well, I'll just use myself as an example. Let's say I
Mhm.
did an episode on long distance caregiving and the stressors of being a long distance caregiver. Then if somebody is searching and how do I care for my mom who lives far away, or how do I, Google is going to be able to look at my episode basically and list that as a result of a search for them.
Mhm.
But yeah, repurposing content, basically you can
Mhm.
use all those clips for later. Now monetizing your podcast. How do you make money doing this? Because this stuff, you can put a lot of time and energy into this and it can be a beautiful product. But if it's not going to, support itself at least,
Yeah.
hopefully even, make you some money, then you start to think twice about it.
Mhm.
I have definitely met, in my mastermind group that I was in with healthcare podcasters. There were two people in my group that had huge followings and they were not making any money. They were not getting referrals. They were not getting business. They were not, and it was a big problem. And they were talking about just quitting their podcast because they put so much time and energy into it. And again, they had followers. So the challenge for them was, how do I get, how do I monetize this? We've got an audience and they're clearly engaged. How do we
Mhm.
monetize this? So
Mhm.
so I just made a, quick list here, selling your services. So how do you showcase your expertise? It's like an audio, think of the podcast as like an audio portfolio of your expertise, right? This is a
Mhm.
great way for people to get to see who you are and how you work. And you always want to have a call to action. You always want to say, at the end of your episode or in your episode, you want to invite people to reach out to you or let them know that you take clients or whatever service you happen to be offering.
Mhm.
Promoting your podcast. Again, this is something that or promoting your products, right? This is something that I wasn't doing on mine, but think outside the box too. It's certainly making me think outside the box. I'm changing the way I'm doing my business now, because I'm creating digital stuff. I'm in the middle of creating a course. You can easily put together ebooks now, templates, checklists, all kinds of different things.
Mhm.
So anything that you can do to get your followers more of you, that's what they want. They
Yeah.
follow you, they want your stuff, they want what you have to offer. So it's up to
Yeah.
us to get
I,
creative.
I want to put together a workbook.
Oh my God, amazing.
And then I'd have like a support group that meets weekly or twice a month to go through the exercises in the
Maya.
workbook together.
Oh my gosh. And so you're building community, like that's perfect. And one thing I didn't talk about here, again, there's so many areas I could have gone deeper with, but is that value ladder. Are you familiar with that term? So
No.
yeah, so with a value ladder, what you're doing is imagine that you're starting at the bottom of the value ladder, or sometimes they also call it the sales funnel, but I always use the value ladder as the value that they're getting. So you are giving them more and more. So you start out giving them free content.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So your podcast episode is free. They don't have to do anything at all. They don't have to pay for it. They don't have to give you anything. It's free. So that's the bottom of the value ladder, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
next rung up is you're asking them for one small little thing. That one small little thing might be an email. So it might be, hey, if you want this free checklist or top 5 ways to avoid burnout, list or
Mm.
whatever, I'll give it to you for free, but you have to give me your email.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's one small ask. Then
Mm-hmm.
you up the game a little more and you say, oh, if you want more of me, if you like this checklist that you got, maybe you want to buy this course that I made, or have a copy of this webinar that I did, or, and it's the minimal amount of money. Maybe it's $50, maybe it's $200, but here's a little thing that I have to offer. And then you can up the game a little more and say, oh, if you really like that, I've got this great workbook, or I've got this great community that you can be a part of so that you can support. And then if you want to up the game a little more, like in my case, I have a team. So I say, maybe you want some coaching services from my team. This is how much that is. And then the top of the ladder is always you. So by the time somebody is paying to see you, they're paying top dollar to see you, but they've been able to follow this ladder up, and maybe they stop at a certain rung, or maybe they jump to the top of the ladder and they don't even get the other stuff. But you have basically given them an offer all the way through, everything from free to premium, and they can choose where they want to land and what they feel comfortable. But you have made an offer, and most of those services, or many of those things, like courses and ebooks and workbooks and all of that, you're creating at once and then you're just reselling it. So
passive income.
Yep. Passive income. And by the time they are actually working directly with you, like I said, you are charging the premium for that.
Yeah.
Another way that people can, oh, I see I have a typo in here. That's what will drive me nuts. Is affiliate marketing. Some people, well, sorry, go back to the sponsorship and ads. Podcasts, often you need to have a pretty good following for businesses to pay you for an ad spot in your podcast. But you can certainly put an advertisement of yourself, in there too, or trade with other people. You can also do affiliate marketing. So the products or services that you recommend or use, if you have an affiliate link, you can get a commission, when other people buy those things. It's very common now in the world of YouTubing and podcasting. I mean, I don't have these, but who knows? I may someday. And you can have these exclusive offers as well. So you can say, hey, if you are a paid subscriber to, a special paid subscriber to our podcast, you're going to get exclusive episodes, or you're going to get the first release, or you're going to get the bonus material, or, I'm going to hop on and do a special Q&A just for you kind of thing. But those are often things that some people will do to also monetize.
Mm-hmm.
So, podcasting builds relationships, right? We talked about this in the beginning. The listeners feel like they know you, they trust you, they come to you, they're pre-sold. You don't have to sell them anything. They're reaching out to you. And often then you get this loyal audience.
Mm.
So
Wow.
here's some common concerns that people have about podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
I miss time. I don't have the time to do it. You can quite literally, like I said before, do 15-minute episodes. Some people feel like they don't have the skills. And by the way, everybody starts as a beginner. You don't know any of this stuff to begin with. So it's just learning it. But there are so many tools out there now, like I said, ChatGPT and Descript, and they make all the ideas. ChatGPT will come up with do all the brainstorming for you. Descript will do all the editing for you. You do have to learn a little bit how to use those tools, but once you do, it saves so much time. It gives you the skill. Some people worry that they're not a natural, but I mean, just again, everybody started out as a beginner. So, what are your next steps if you want to start a podcast? Well, just kind of a quick review is you identify who your audience is, who's your avatar. You can brainstorm your first 5 episode ideas. You can choose some of those simple tools to start recording. And then you just share your podcast out with the world. So I know that this is definitely an oversimplification of the process once you start getting in there, but it's basically been a fun journey for sure. So yeah, basically just as a wrap up of
Can you go back a minute to that last slide?
Yeah.
Choose simple tools and start recording. So on Zoom, I can just record a solo.
Yep.
Just me talking to Zoom right here in my own office.
Yeah, I do. That's what I do. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I keep wanting to get the perfect background.
Yeah.
I would if I bought a paid Zoom subscription, I would be able to have choose my backgrounds.
You sure could. Yeah. I have the paid version and I never use the backgrounds, but
Oh, you don't.
But you could. You absolutely could.
So that was one of my issues. So I've got to, clean up my office and put away my mess and
yeah. I would say look at some YouTubers. Oh gosh, who talks a lot about this stuff? I was just listening to him. Oh my goodness. If I think of his name, I'll let you know, Maya, but
okay.
You can literally Google or go on YouTube and search for his name is Wes McDowell, Wes McDowell. He actually started out as a website design guy, and he's got a YouTube channel that helps people do all kinds of things. He talks a lot about the AI stuff, which I love. He talks about he's not a podcaster, so but he's very good at giving advice to small businesses. And I'm actually in the middle of his course. He has a course on starting a YouTube channel that's pretty good. But he talks about this exact thing, that there used to be a trend on YouTube where you know, you needed to be really good at doing these fancy video clips and music scenes, and you know, you had to be a videographer to really be a good YouTuber. And he said there's this whole trend right now where people are literally um the quality of the content is way more important, and people are getting way more views than the fancy stuff going on. And some of the examples he used were people with lighting that wasn't great. The one, you know, a couple people were in their bedroom recording, you know, it's like, it's not as important to worry about that stuff as it used to be.
Okay.
You want it to feel good for you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are certain things you can do, you know, with the lighting. I look back at some of my recordings, and you know, I had the window behind me, so the light wasn't good, or you know, I mean, there's certain things you can do, but it's not, it's very forgiving now, actually. And like some of the ones he was showing, like I said, is this guy standing up, he had a whiteboard on the wall, you know, and he was just writing on the whiteboard his stuff. And it used to be that you would have to have some fancy PowerPoint presentation, you know,
Yeah.
or some cool video that was flashing in these things. And so it has certainly made me feel a little better about, okay, I can do this YouTube thing. And
Well, you've got a PowerPoint here. Did you put this whole PowerPoint together yourself?
I did, yes. I'm also used to, I do a lot of presentations in my industry. So I'm used to doing the PowerPoint stuff. But the YouTube stuff is going to be different. I'll just be, you know, sitting on a screen talking. It'll be my podcast episodes of just myself, or an interview with someone.
Okay.
But don't let the perfection piece stop you, I guess, is really what my point is.
So I should turn my mountains into molehills.
That's right. Oh,
Yes. Okay. I'm working on that then.
but yeah, let me tell you, I am not the one to be, certainly I am really good at that myself. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, last slide. Just remembering that every episode you create is an opportunity to connect, inspire, and grow your business.
Mhm.
Remember, what you are seeking is also seeking you. I really believe that
Mhm.
your people want to find you. And the sooner you can get out there, the sooner they can find you. Was there anything else that I think that's really the end of this presentation? So
Are those, well, the slides will be on the recording.
yeah,
Are they going to be separate? Like,
I think you're just gonna get the recording. I can certainly send them the slideshow, though. Maybe I'll just do that, and then they can, yeah, then you
yeah.
can have the slides separate. That's fine.
Yeah. Um, okay, so the people I'm looking for are looking for me.
That's right. They are. I believe that.
Okay. This was wonderful, Laura. I got so much out
Aw,
of this.
I'm
Gosh.
so glad, Maya. Yeah.
Oh, I
We got
really,
a little AI, a little YouTube, a little
yeah.
stuff too.
And now it's going to get posted and we're going to be on a podcast that's recorded and
There we go.
other
Yep.
people will watch it and
Yay. Well, welcome. We'll tell everybody that's watching this that wasn't here live with us that they are here in spirit with us. And this is a good example of our evergreen content, right? We
yes,
did this once and we recorded it once, and now it can be found or used for the future. So,
that's great.
yay.
And let's make a plan to get together soon and talk over
I
some
would
other
love that.
ideas.
Yes,
Okay.
for sure. I get back in January, so
Oh, super.
it'd be great. Yeah, I'd love that,
Okay.
Maya. I know I'm
Well,
excited to show you more about how Chat GPT can help with your life in general, really.
yeah, maybe we could meet at your office. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
really fun that I already knew you. We already knew each
I
other.
know, isn't it? I love that
Yeah.
too. I saw your name pop up. I was like, yay! How
Yeah.
cool is that? I love it.
Yeah. Really nice to connect with you again.
Awesome.
Thank
Well,
you, Laura.
you are so welcome. I am going to stop recording, I think. Let me pause the recording. I'll stop the recording.